2012 have been able to do in postseason play. You see the regular season wins in Major League Baseball, Cardinals just 4 back of Washington, but yet the 20 postseason wins. When it counts, St. Louis with 20, the Nationals with just 3.
Mike Matheny took over in 2012 and has put the Cardinals led the Cardinals into the postseason 3 straight years, the first Cardinal manager to ever do that.
So Mike Matheny and the Cardinals with a record of 8-4, starting today, half game in front of Chicago in the NL Central. His lineup: Matt Carpenter, Jason Hayward, and Matt Holliday here in the first. Holliday has hit in every game this year. Then Matt Adams, Johnny Peralta, John Jay, Yadier Molina, Colton Wong, and the pitcher batting ninth, John Lackey. He is 6'8", 210 pounds, and that is Doug Fister, the starter for the Nets.
From Merced, California. That's right near Yosemite Valley. Beautiful part of the country. And 50% of the pitches upon which hitters make contact have been hit on the ground. And you could tell early if Fister's going to be successful. Great sinker, not a hard thrower, 88, 89, but great movement on that fastball.
Speaking of that fastball, and this is the Hyundai pitch arsenal, what he's done this year. That fastball about 83% of the time, and Tim, you're exactly right. It's ground ball after ground ball when he's right.
How many pitchers do you see with that flashed up there? How many pitchers that you see like that don't throw a slider? It's fastball, curveball. Usually it used to be sinker, slider, but now it's sinker, curveball for Fister. Very unusual.
Matt Carpenter will lead it off for the Cardinals. Hitting .380, pair of home runs. And he's driven in 10. Also with Doug Fister, he is one of the fastest, if not the fastest, worker in all of Major League Baseball.
As fast as small town gossip.
I like it too. Small town gossip. It gets around quickly.
You and I both know what that's all about.
Unfortunately, we do.
Yes, we do.
A swing and a miss. That rarely happens. Matt Carpenter swings and misses at only 8% of the time this year. Great batting eye. Will go deep into counts. Isn't afraid to hit with 2 strikes. We're talking to some of the Nationals people, and they say that these rules, in terms of a batter not being able to go out of the batter's box, with the exception of a foul ball or some of the other things of the guidelines, but for the most part staying in the box, it really benefits Fister. He works quickly anyway, and this just adds to the pace.
The faster you work, the more it benefits you. Otherwise, you could slow him down by staying out of the box, taking your time getting in.
Another 1-2 pitch, and he did not go. Calling the balls and strikes tonight, Jim Wolf. Adam Hamari is at first. Doug Eddings is the crew chief. He's at second. Adrian Johnson is down at third. Good ball game last night. Expecting the same tonight. As Carpenter hits it a ton into deep right field. 1-0 St. Louis. Launched it. And Carpenter already with 3 home runs, and now has driven in 11 this year. 1-0 St. Louis.
Wow. A 2-strike home run. Carpenter, a guy who protects the plate with 2 strikes. And when a hitter does that, that robs him of his power. Carpenter quick on the high fastball, and the Washington Nationals only the 6th home run they've given up all year. That leads the major leagues, by the way. But a high fastball, and Fister can't live up there.
Strike at the knees to Jason Hayward. Hitting a .192, 1 home run and 3 RBIs. Oh, 2 pitch. And a strikeout of Hayward. First out of the game for a strikeout for Doug Fister. Dobbs Tire Auto Center's defense with Worth, Span, and Harper in the outfield for the Nats. Escobar, Desmond, Espinosa, Zimmerman around the infield, and Wilson Ramos behind the plate.
You get the feeling that that last pitch to Hayward was the type of pitch that he wanted to throw to Carpenter, but he didn't get it inside. That arms up fastball.
Here's Holiday, one of the hottest hitters in all of baseball. He has hit in the first 12 games of this season. Matter of fact, he's the only player in the major leagues to have done that. Also reached base in the first inning of 9 of the 12 games the Cardinals have played in. One ball and 2 strikes. And a strikeout of Holiday. That catches the outside corner.
Yeah, that's the same pitch he got Hayward on. Let's take a look at the home run to Matt Carpenter. Count 2-2. Fister trying to come inside, doesn't get him there, and Matt Carpenter makes him pay. Now the 1-2 pitch to Jason Hayward, tailing in, arms up fastball, got him.
Matt Adams in game 1, a tough night on the field in terms of his defense, and he's back in there here for game number 2. 2 outs, nobody on. Adams hitting an even 200. He's popped 1 home run. That was against Cincinnati. He's driven in 4. Not quite the exaggerated shift that some teams will use on Adams. Desmond, the shortstop, near the bag at second.
Yeah, there's nothing to beat for Matt Adams this year. He beat the shift last year, learning to adjust to it in his first full year in the major league. Not so far this year.
Ground ball to second, taken there by Espinosa on the outfield grass. Home run number 3 this year for Matt Carpenter. RBI number 11. Half inning in the books. 1-0 St. Louis. Matt Carpenter now with 3 home runs. Cardinals leadoff man. Look at the lineup that John Lackey will face tonight for the Washington Nationals. Denard Span healthy, back in the top of the lineup. The Desmond and Worth here in the first. Harper, Zimmerman, Escobar, Ramos, Espinosa, switch hitter, and the pitcher Fister. John Lackey, 2 starts, a record of 1-0. And a strike to Denard Span. They have some pretty big personalities and names with the Washington Nationals. You think about Zimmerman, Harper, obviously Scherzer. We'll see him tomorrow. Lost in that is Denard Span. And Tim, you go back to last year when he's not in the lineup, they're 2 games below 500. That also includes this year. When he's in the lineup, they're 32 games above 500. As Adams makes a nice play, and Lackey covering the bag at first.
Yeah, you mentioned the 2 errors that Matt Adams had last night. Coming in the game as a pinch hitter. Check this out. Diving to his right, Lackey covering. But you're right about Span. I mean, he has the on-base percentage. He's similar to Matt Carpenter. We talked about it last night. He is a good player.
Ricky Henderson, by the way, the all-time leader in leadoff home runs. He hit 81. He did that in nearly 3,000 at-bats. Take a guess who's number 2. This name is going to surprise you.
Lou Brock?
Not Lou. He's a former Cub, though. Recently retired. Was with the Yankees and was part of a big deal that involved Alex Rodriguez. Alfonso Soriano, 2nd all-time in leadoff home runs.
So it makes sense.
Makes sense, but it's surprising, I think.
Yeah, with the Yankees, it is.
Yeah.
It is. You think of him as a guy who strikes out a lot, and he certainly did that. That's the thing about Ricky Henderson. Ricky Henderson didn't strike out that much. He walked a lot. He had a lot of home runs, 81 leadoff, as you said. Might be, maybe, in the top 20 tough outs in the history of the game, Ricky Henderson.
Without question. Soriano had 54 leadoff home runs in only 768 at bats. Here's Ian Desmond.
Well, he was a fourth place hitter hitting first.
Yes.
Really. Ricky wasn't. Ricky was a leadoff hitter batting first. Yeah. Yeah.
Stolen bases as Desmond waves at that pitch. First strikeout for John Lackey. Matt Carpenter on Sunday got things going against Mike Elite. That home run to dead straightaway center, and tonight 2-strike pitch, boom, into the seats in right here in Washington. Some kind of player.
Yes, he is. Relentless in his work habits. Relentless.
Now it's Jason Worth. Hyundai pitch arsenal for John Lackey this season features the fastball, the slider, the curve, and the occasional changeup. The other way, and that's a fair ball down into the right field corner for Jason Worth. Dug out by Hayward, and it's a 2-out double. Worth is just 5 for 28 to start his year. A look at the Cardinals defense behind Lackey, presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Holiday, Jay, Hayward in the outfield. Carpenter and Peralta on the left side of the infield. Wong and Adams on the right side. Yadier Molina behind the plate.
That was the type of hit that can get a hitter who has been struggling going. A guy like Jason Worth. Hit the ball the other way on the line. What that does, it keeps the front shoulder in there, and all hitters know that's the most important thing with which to start an at bat.
Bryce Harper hitting .265. Tight breaking ball, and that's taken down and in for ball one. Tremendous power with Harper. Hits those majestic home runs. This year he's drawn more walks early in the season. He leads their club with 12. He's also struck out 20 times, and that leads the league. John Lackey coming off 7 shutout innings in a day game last Thursday against Milwaukee, in one of the best pitched games we've seen since he arrived in St. Louis.
I think it was his best.
That's pulled foul, and it's 1-2. Lance Lynn last night, Lackey tonight. John Lackey, by the way, 17th pro season. Bryce Harper, 22 years old. The veteran against the young gun.
Best time to jam a hitter with 2 strikes. The better the hitter, the more you try to jam him, because the good hitters protect the plate, and when a hitter's protecting the plate, inside's the place to go. Pitch in when you're ahead in the count, and away when you're behind in the count. It's a good rule of thumb for pitchers and catchers to remember.
No surprise, we've seen John Lackey look back at the home plate umpire already twice with a couple of the calls that have not gone his way.
Yeah, the slider both times to Harper. The slider to open the count, and the last fastball. Even though I think the last fastball was high, but that slider was a strike, or could have been a strike.
So the count is full on Bryce Harper. Outfield is deep straight away. Infield plays him to pull. And we'll do it again. You you've been around this game a long time. Do you get intrigued watching younger players? I know there's a lot of hype around Bryce Harper, but are you intrigued to watch him more so than others?
Yes. Yes, I am. A guy I'd like to see more often, but Cardinals are not in the American League, but Mike Trout's a guy that.
How could you not want to watch him?
No. Goodness.
Lackey a pair of strikeouts as he gets Harper. Also got Desmond with a strikeout. And after an inning of play, 1-0 St. Louis. Guys, thanks. Here is Johnny Peralta. And the first pitch on the ground. Ian Desmond. One away. Well, we're talking, Tim, about Bryce Harper, OPS, on base plus slugging percentage, and the highest OPS through age 21. Pretty exclusive list he's on right there.
Mike Trout is the leader in that department.
I'm with you, by the way. I get home from our games in St. Louis, and I have the MLB package, and I always love to check out the West Coast games.
Oh, yeah.
So I've seen Trout play on TV enough to realize it's not making a bold statement here, just how tremendous he is.
2 years ago, I was doing a network game on a Saturday. I went out Friday at like 3:30, and Mike Trout was around the cage, and I talked to him for about a half an hour about two-strike hitting. We were talking the last inning about that two-strike pitch, how it's a good time to jam. He knew all of that stuff.
Is that right?
He was so far beyond his years in talking about a very delicate part of hitting, and that's two-strike hitting. At 2 strikes is the worst time to throw the curveball, and he's right.
On 1-2, John Jay to second. Well, we have a moment. Let's take a look at Tim's Toyota keys to the game.
Be better in the red zone. The Cardinals last night were great from the 20 to the 20, but they couldn't punch it in.
It was almost historic because Gio Gonzalez, he allowed 12 base runners, no runs. He was 1 base runner shy of going the 6 innings and allowing no runs with 13 base runners, which would have been a record.
Yeah, think about that. 12 base runners through 6 innings. Two base runners an inning on average. They couldn't punch across a run. Matt Carpenter figured that out in a hurry tonight.
There's an 0-2 pitch to Yadier Molina. If you have keys to the game or you need to get in a graphic, you better do it in a hurry when Doug Fister is on the mound. I mean, this guy is as fast as anybody.
He is.
Molina breaks his bat into shallow left, and it drops for a hit in front of Jason Worth. And again, 2 strikes. You talked about that approach.
2 strikes, the fastball inside, and it breaks the bat of Yadier Molina. But you can see Ramos setting up inside. That was an intentional inside fastball, and Molina strong enough to break his bat and plop it in front of Jason Worth in left field.
We heard Pat and Al talk about Matt Carpenter with his 6th career leadoff home run and where he is in Cardinals history. Here's Wong. That was the first time he'd ever done that on the road. So his first ever leadoff home run on the road, but 6 total in his career. Shin Soo Choo, if you go back a couple of seasons, is now the leader since 2013 with 9 leadoff home runs, and Carpenter is just 3 back of him. Cardinals last night, the offense stranded 13. They were 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position. If you include the walks, 17 base runners over 10 innings.
And 1 run scored.
And 1 run
17
scored.
base runners and 1 run scored.
Colton Wong, a drive out to deep right field. Harper is back, and that's gone. 3-0 Cardinals. Wong's first of 2015.
Last night we talked about Colton Wong and about how he holds his hands low, and it's very difficult for him to get on top of a high fastball and hit it hard. Well, he gets on top of a fister fastball here, and he doesn't fist it.
No, he doesn't.
No.
Now it's John Lackey, and he takes a ball high.
Again with 2 strikes. So two-strike home runs in this ball game has accounted for all Cardinal runs thus far.
There's a strike to Lackey. 1 ball, 1 strike. While we have a moment, longtime Cardinals employee Tom Parchomsky. Been there an awful long time, but happy birthday to Chomps, who's worked at all different levels with the organization. Happy birthday, Chomps. As Lackey pops it foul and out of play.
Chomps chomping at the bit, I would imagine, after these 2 home runs.
They told me make sure you get that happy birthday message in early, because he's going to be happy with the home runs, but he's a big Blues fan too, and the Blues play later tonight. So
right, 9:30 Eastern, right? Or 9:30 Central.
8:30 Central.
8:30 Central.
9:30 Eastern. Yeah.
All right, thanks for cleaning that up.
Why? To figure it out too. I have no idea. Charging Escobar, and he makes the play. So Lackey retired. A broken bat single with Molina to left to get to Wong. And a 2-out, 2-run shot for the Cardinals' second baseman. Midway through 2. Birds on top. Home runs a year ago with 2 strikes. The Cardinals have done that twice tonight. Carpenter in the first, Wong moments ago in the top of the second. Along with Tim McCarver, I'm Dan McLaughlin. We say hello to Jim Hayes, who's standing by with some very special guests. Jimmy.
Yeah, the parents of Mitch Harris, who we told his story yesterday, back to getting back to baseball after completing 5 years of military service. This is his father, Cy, and his mother, Cindy. First, I just got to ask you, being here and seeing him in a big league uniform, what's it like for you guys?
Very excited. Very excited. It's been a long track, but we're finally here, we hope.
When he got back to the Cardinals after completing his service, he said he threw 80 miles an hour, but he was determined that he was going to make it to the big leagues. Did you ever doubt that he could get all the way back?
Confess, we were a little worried. Not worried, but, you know, a little doubtful. But I don't think he ever had a doubt in his mind that he could do it if he worked hard enough.
He really didn't have a doubt, did he?
He has that kind of work ethic. You know, he's going to keep. We've always set the bar kind of high, and he tries to obtain it.
When he found out that he was going from Memphis to the big league club, he said it didn't kick in until his first phone call, and that was to you. What was that phone call?
Well, he just asked if I was sitting down, and I said yes. And he said, well, I got the call up. I said, are you serious? And of course, I congratulated him, and I was very proud of him.
How nerve-wracking is it for you guys waiting for him to get into a big league ball game?
You know, you want to get past the first one. It's not based on just, I don't think, because the Cardinals have done their homework, and they know what they're looking for. So we're anxious too. But to get past that first hump, yeah, it's kind of hard.
Your son has an inspirational story. I think he's inspired a lot of people. You guys should be very proud. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Dan, Tim.
Good stuff, Jim. The Hall of Fame says it believes the only Naval Academy graduate to appear in a major league game was pitcher Nemo Gaines. And this is Escobar with a fly ball into left, and the catch made by Holiday. And he made just, 4 relief appearances back in 1921. That was with the Washington Senators. So counting the minor leagues, just 9 Annapolis graduates had played professional baseball. That's according to the Hall of Fame.
Of course, the football, the most prominent football representative, Roger Staubach, and in basketball, David Robinson, I beg your pardon.
Those 2 Hall of Famers in each sport. Jimmy Carter, the 39th president of the United States, was the class of 1947. Any way you want to look at it, it is a great story, not only for the Cardinals, but for baseball in general. And if he's not going to make his debut in St. Louis, I'm not sure there's a better place to be, just a few miles away from Annapolis and right here in our nation's capital. 0-2 the count on Wilson Ramos. How about you, Tim? I've noticed the breaking ball of Lackey has been sharp really throughout the season, but especially tonight.
He's used that pitch to get ahead tonight, and normally the colder it is, and it's chilly tonight, but the colder it is, the ball is slick in your hand, and your breaking ball is not as effective as it is in warm weather. But it has been thus far for Lackey. The big thing, I think in his 3 starts, he's staying ahead of the hitters. Strike one is familiar to him.
Count runs full. Espinosa, switch hitter on deck. A 3-2 pitch by Lackey. And a ground ball that's hit to third, bobbled by Carpenter with time with Ramos running, and he makes the play. That's 4 in a row sent down by John Lackey. Will we see him tonight? Mitch Harris from the Naval Academy and some anxious parents as well. Here's Matt Carpenter, and the first pitch is a strike. Well, Tim, you talked about it. If he gets ground balls is when he's right. Talking about Doug Fister, he's allowed a couple of home runs, and there's another fly ball. This one will be caught by Harper for the first out.
I was thinking that when Matt Carpenter hit the home run on the high fastball, and then Colton Wong the same thing, a 2-strike high fastball. After Yadier Molina had singled, it appeared to be an innocent single initially, right?
Exactly.
And then Wong hits the home run, and Lackey makes the last out. So everything laid right for the Cardinals in the second.
He's had 2 starts this year. Both have been against the Phillies. As Jason Hayward digs in for the second time. The Phillies offensively atrocious so far. Last year, 16-6. 4th best ERA in the National League. There's a grounder and a base hit for Hayward into right center. Watch every out-of-market game live in high definition with MLB.TV Premium. Blackout and other restrictions may apply. Visit MLB.TV. The Holiday's off to a great start. We've talked about the lack of power, not just with the Cardinals in terms of home runs. That's changed a little bit here tonight with a pair of home runs. But Holiday has 17 hits to lead the club. 16 of the 17 have been singles. I'm not complaining. Don't get me wrong.
No. I understand what you're saying, but that was our point on the opening tonight was their hitting's been okay, but they need to bunch their hits a little more.
And that's the point.
Yeah. When you hit singles, you have to bunch them to score runs. When you hit home runs, one swing of the bat and boom.
And this may be a combination with Ramos and a 6'8" pitcher in Doug Fister. Cardinals may take advantage of. They could do that with Hayward, who can steal a bag.
Thing is, with Holiday, though, swinging well, the better he's swinging, or the better a hitter is swinging, the less inclined you are to hit and run. And the reason for that is that you want your guy who is locked in to be able to choose the pitch
to go after,
to hit,
yeah,
as opposed to having to hit at a ball that perhaps is out of the strike zone.
That was my concern there. Ground balls and it works out here. But Holiday hits into a lot of double plays.
Yeah,
and part of that, though, is how hard he does hit the ball.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Reminder, Game 4 between the Blues and Wild is coming up tonight at 8 on Fox Sports Midwest or Fox Sports Midwest Plus. All you have to do is head to foxsportsmidwest.com for channel numbers in your area. Good luck to the Blues tonight. They do not want to go down 3-1. Here's Adams, who grounded out to second first time up. Just joining us, a solo home run by Matt Carpenter in the first. 2-out, 2-run homer by Wong in the second. Matt Adams is really key in this offense, and he's right now off to a slow start. Just 1 home run and hitting under 200.
Yeah, just the opposite of his last April.
Nice piece of hitting. Goes the other way. Hayward will score, and it's 4-0 Cardinals. Adams snuck that past Escobar down that third base line. 4-0 Cardinals. So 3 of the 4 runs have scored with 2 outs.
Now the Cardinals have had myriad types of hits tonight. They have powered the ball, and they have snuck the ball by infielders. I love that description. That's exactly right, too, Dan. Fastball away. He went with the pitch and traded places with Hayward.
I would imagine Pfister is frustrated not only because he's down 4 runs, but if you go back to the Holiday play, his size a factor on that ground ball. If he doesn't touch it, that's probably a double play, and he's out of the inning because Espinosa was near the bag.
Or if he catches the ball and wheels in a hurry, they get Holiday, who's not a fast runner. Either way.
Good point. It's chopped foul. Matt Adams and the hits by direction so far. And Timmy pointed it out just how well at times he would go the other way a season ago.
Last year, yeah.
Two and 1 the count. There's John Mabry on the left and Billy Miller on the right. Billy grew up in St. Louis, went to DeSmet High School, then on to Southwest Missouri State, now known as Missouri State. That's where Mike Matheny's son plays. And that pitch is taken in, and a walk to Johnny Peralta. That's something you normally don't see from Pfister. However, this year, 3 starts, a little different from what we saw a year ago. Last year, 164 innings and only 24 walks. And this year, this being he's gone now 15 2/3 and allowed 6 walks.
To give you an idea about what kind of pitcher he was last year, there were 69 pitchers. Last year who had less than 100 strikeouts. I was waiting for that graphic right there. It's John Lackey to compare the two. Well, Lackey has pitched well, and Pfister hasn't thus far.
You think about that being a 16-game winner, 164 innings, and under 100 strikeouts.
Yeah, right.
No balls, 1 strike here on John Jay. John Jay started last night with his glove.
He had that temporary game saver in the 9th inning with the bases loaded to play against Jason Worth.
And then the heads-up play that you picked up on right away, where This was the third of the fourth inning. The double play at second base to eliminate a threat. They had a great play in center, and they threw it back in, and Harper had not retraced his steps at the bag at second. 2-2. Nationals did make a move before the game as they disabled a left-hander in their pen, and they called up Matt Grace. So currently Thornton and Grace, the two lefties in their pen for tonight, and that was Felipe Rivero who was put on the DL. You wonder how active the bullpens will be tonight after a 10-inning game, and Mike Matheny has gone to that bullpen an awful lot here at the beginning of this season. There's a ground ball under the glove of Ryan Zimmerman into shallow right. Adams will score. And Peralta to third. And it's 5-0 St. Louis.
You see, it's going to be scored. It could have been fielded rather easily by Zimmerman. Pfister was covering, and it's going to be an error on Ryan Zimmerman. A ball that he would normally come up with. Looked like it. I'm not sure he put the fat part of the glove on the ball. It looked like it skated past his, or as you said, snuck past his, the thumb portion of the mitt.
You know, that's just the ball doing its thing. It's sneaky.
It has been for Pfister tonight.
It has. You know, I talked to Ryan Zimmerman at length during spring training about the move from third base to first base, and he said it has been very natural for him. Cardinals see them an awful lot in spring training, and he said that play right there is the play that has been tough for him to get used to, because you've got to be on the same page with your catcher, and in his mind know his tendencies, have an understanding of maybe the signal that he wants to make to you if you're going to pick off a runner at first. But he said for the most part it's been a pretty smooth transition. And Zimmerman at the University of Virginia was a shortstop, then moved to third base in the professional game, and now over at first. And that's his first year of the year.
Yeah, that throw from the catcher, you're moving off the bag and you have to retrace your steps, get back to the bag in time for the throw. And you don't know where the runner is when you're reaching around to tag him.
That was the part he said was tough.
Yeah, it's a blind tag.
Molina with a high fly ball into right center. Denard Span along with Harper there, and Bryce Harper puts it away. Big inning for St. Louis. 1 in the first, 2 in the second, 2 more here in the top of the third.
Dan Aykroyd.
Here's Danny Espinosa. Espinosa, then Pfister, and Denard Span.
How about the times at the plate for Espinosa last night? He had 2 walks, 1 sacrifice, and 1 strikeout. Up 4 times. Never laid a bat on the ball other than the sacrifice.
And a ground ball hit to second. There's Colton Wong. Isn't it funny? And I'm just watching Colton Wong, and I watch him closely, maybe more so than some other players, Tim, with mannerisms. Even on that ground ball, how he fielded it. And I know it's a routine grounder for a major leaguer, but had a little extra step, a little extra pep. You look at his game last night, what he did. Got on base, couple of infield hits.
Yeah.
Base hit to right, drew a walk, and then the home run earlier. He's the kind of guy that when he makes an error, or you see him at the plate swing and miss sometimes, wears those emotions on his sleeve. He gets frustrated. That's up the middle, past Wong, and into center field. But he has a world of talent. Just a matter of making sure he keeps everything intact.
Well, corralling your mind is as important or more important than corralling your talent. Once that talent's been established, and scouts say you can play in the big leagues. You have the speed, power, arm, whatever it might be. And then the game becomes a checkup from the neck up.
Sure. We're back to Denard Span. So Pfister, the single into center, and a breaking ball drops in for a strike. It's a good play by Matt Adams to take a hit away from Span back in the first with a diving stop. Cardinals picked up John Lackey from the Boston Red Sox for Joe Kelly and Alan Craig. Joe Kelly starts in Game 2 tonight for the Red Sox against Tampa Bay. He's had 2 starts, 12 2/3, only allowed 5 hits, so he's pitched well.
Yes, he has.
And Alan Craig, the struggles continue. He's just 2 for 15 with 6 strikeouts.
And the Cardinals got John Lackey cheaply, didn't they?
Amazing, isn't it?
It really is.
You just don't hear about a guy this age, 36, pitching for the league minimum, which isn't chump change in real life, as we all know.
No.
But in the baseball world, it's a pretty good deal. That's a base hit into right center. As Pfister waited to make sure that ball got down.
Yeah, you could tell that's an inexperienced base runner, a pitcher and Doug Pfister.
I think we both agree, if they're not the best, they're among the best in the National League. The rotations for both these teams.
Right.
But look at the difference in salary in millions. $28 million for the Cardinals, $63.5 for the Washington Nationals. It's a big difference. Ian Desmond takes a pitch up and in.
Think about John Lackey, who's 36 years old, making the same salary as Mitch Harris.
That's exactly right. A guy that's helped win a couple of World Series, and another guy that, well, he hasn't pitched in the big leagues. Into center, and they'll hold up the runner, Pfister.
Pfister's had 2 chances to take an extra base. First, third, and secondly, to score the first run of the game for the Nationals. That could turn into a big non-run for the Nationals if a double play's turned here.
Jason Worth, a double down the right field line, his first time up. Just to finish the thought on John Lackey, he pitches at the minimum because he was under contract with the Red Sox. He went through an examination before signing a long-term deal. They felt at some point he was going to have to miss significant time because of issues with the elbow, but they felt comfortable enough in signing him. They said, though, if you have Tommy John and you miss that time, we get a year at the minimum. Well, the ones that are benefiting from that, the Cardinals.
Yeah, John already has had 1 Tommy John surgery. That was back on November 1st, 2011. He missed the 2012 season. So the Cardinals understandably concerned.
I asked John about his runs in championship play, and Worth didn't like that call, and he said the one with the Red Sox, unfortunately for Cardinal fans, meant more to him because of what you just said. I came off of injury. You have doubt as to whether or not you can get back to that level. He said, I felt great, got in good shape, and pitched at a high level. Meant a lot for him personally. Worth with a fly ball. Right field. Here's Hayward. Pfister is the runner at third. And the throw comes into Peralta.
I think that's a proper play. You've got a 5-run lead. It's 4 now. And Hayward, a Gold Glover in right field, always throws to the right base, always seems to hit the cutoff man. And the right play right here. Pfister's going to score rather easily for the first run of the ball game for the Nationals.
So Jason Worth, his second RBI the young season, and it makes it a 5-1 St. Louis lead. Here's Bryce Harper. the pitch that he struck Harper out on his first time up, that high fastball. Lackey with 3 strikeouts so far, no walks, and he has allowed 4 base hits.
Lackey really trying to crowd Bryce Harper. Almost everything has been inside tonight. Combination of sliders and fastballs. Nothing soft thus far. Good changeup there. That's the first time he's gone away from Harper in 10 pitches.
Two and 1 the count. John Lackey has not faced Washington since 2008. That was in interleague play. The 3-1 to Harper. Look at the breaking ball, and he walked him. First walk issued, bases loaded for Ryan Zimmerman. And Derek Lilliquist out to visit.
Yadier Molina with 2 out and nobody on, and that base hit in front of the home run by Colton Wong. And then you get the first batter out here, and now you're facing the pitcher. You can see your way through that inning quite easily, and Pfister gets a base hit. Deemed innocent at the time, but it's turned out to be not so.
After the Pfister hit, base hit into right center by Span. Desmond, base hit to center. Bases loaded, Worth the sac fly RBI. Walk to Harper, and they're loaded up for Ryan Zimmerman. 13th walk that Harper has taken this year. Now time called. And a ground ball that is foul.
Even though he's in foul territory, Matt Carpenter diving for the ball because the ball may have gone over the bag. By the time it reached Matt, could have been foul. Not where it lands after it goes either over the bag or not over the bag. But a foul ball called by Adrian Johnson, the third base umpire, because the ball had passed third base.
4 grand slams in his career. Good pitch, 0-2. So Tim, let's go back to what we were talking about before. Now you have him at 0-2. See the breaking ball in the outside corner. A guy like Zimmerman, how do you approach this situation?
Well, the one thing you do is you don't throw him a strike here. You don't need to. In many ways you can go. You can come inside, but you got to come way off the plate inside. I think it's better to throw the slider away because there's less chance of hitting him by coming inside, and they're going to talk about it right now to make sure.
Mentioned in the open just how well the Cardinals have pitched to begin this season. 5 or fewer runs allowed in 12 consecutive games to start this year. That's the second best start in franchise history. The 1931 team did it 18 games to start the year. And that was a world championship team. Cardinals of 1931. They won 101 games. Beat the Philadelphia A's. Frankie Frisch was the MVP.
Fordham Flash.
Got it.
MVP in 1931, right?
1931.
Yes, sir.
Went to 7 games with the Philadelphia A's that year. 2-2 the count. A big pitch right now in this game. Zimmerman sharply to first, knocked down by Adams. Lackey not at the bag, and everybody's safe.
That is John Lackey's fault. If he breaks for the bag, immediately they get the out. Not only a hesitation, but not running toward the bag. It cost him only 1 run so far. John Lackey hoping. Great play by Matt Adams. I say a great play because it was a tough chance. Ball really scalded. Look at Lackey. Becomes a spectator at the wrong time. Watch the game on video, not on the mound.
And now it's Yunel Escobar, the hero from last night, flied out to left, first time up. Bases remain loaded with 2 outs. So a hit awarded to Zimmerman. And a 1-0 pitch to Escobar. Popped up, out of play. There's RBI number 12, too, for Ryan Zimmerman. You can see it, just a late break by Lackey. If he takes off right away, they probably are out of the inning.
Absolutely. Instead of Matt Adams winning the foot race with Zimmerman, he could have softly tossed it to Lackey for the 3rd out.
And Tim, this now has turned into a very long inning for Lackey, up to 55 pitches. And remember, the Cardinals used 6 relievers to get through 3 1/3 last night. That was the 6th time that Mike Matheny has used 6 or more relievers in one game this year. So the bullpen's been used an awful lot, but they've been very good with an ERA of 1.90, best in baseball. The 2-1 pitch. Trouble. Into the left field corner it goes. Zimmerman rounding third. Yunel Escobar clears the bases.
A 1-1 hanging slider right up in the strike zone. And Escobar, who won the game with a solo walk-off home run last night, drives in 3 with the double against Lackey to tie it.
4 of the 5 runs have been scored with 2 outs. 5-5 game after leading 5-0. Wilson Ramos, the 9th man to come to the plate this inning. And he hits it out of play. Now I'm sure when John Lackey looks back at this start, you've got to look back at a key play, which is the Zimmerman ground ball.
Yeah, it should be a 5-1 ball game, no question. That's about his routine. I mean, pitchers work on that every day in spring training. Every day. Pitchers covering first. Pitchers covering first.
Yep. 1-1 the count. 33 pitches this inning. Escobar has had a big series so far. ball lifted into right field. Backing up Hayward. Backing up. And gathers it in on a windy night here in Washington. 5 put up on the board by Washington, much to the delight of the home fans. The key play, Layton covering first. Next thing you look up, 4 more runs and scored. Bases clearing double, and has tied this game up at 5. Here's Colton Wong, who's homered tonight. Doug Fister has a new life. A 5-run St. Louis lead has been erased.
Yeah, the governor called, and there's been a reprieve for Doug Fister.
Just erase those 3 innings, and here you go in the 4th as Wong hits it out of play. Doug Fister comes to Washington from Detroit in exchange for Steve Lombardozzi, Ian Kroll, and Robbie Ray. And he is a free agent to be after this year. The breaking ball, and Colton Wong hits it into right, and that drops in for a base hit. Wong is 2 for 2. Good start to this series.
High fastball for a home run, a hanging curveball for a single to right field. The failure of Lance Lynn to get a bunt down last night with Yadier Molina on at second base, runners on at first and second, nobody out in the 7th inning. And the inability to do that, one of the big reasons the Cardinals didn't take the lead in the 7th.
Lackey, good bunt up the first base line, so his first sacrifice this year. Wong in scoring position.
Always bunt the ball to a guy new in the position. That's a rule of thumb. Ryan Zimmerman, who had a tough time throwing at third, is at first base. So John Lackey doing his job then, even though he didn't do it when he failed to cover first in the top half of the, or in the bottom half of the 3rd inning.
And Tim, I wonder how much that'll be a factor this year if you're in a tight spot late. There's a look at Matt Carpenter. And we know about Ryan Zimmerman and his issues with his shoulder. Can't really throw anymore.
Right.
Where you're trying to get a lead runner, let's say, on a bunt play at third base.
Bunt the ball to first.
Yeah.
Bunt the ball to first.
Be a big factor.
Yeah. I think the word's already out.
Oh,
bunt the ball to first base.
Carpenter with a home run, also flied out to right. One ball, 1 strike. I don't think it would surprise anybody if you looked up at the end of the season and saw 15 or 20 home runs from Matt Carpenter.
No, I agree with that. He's deceptively strong. Doesn't look it, but he is. That wiry strength, great baseball muscles.
Wong, the runner at second base, a 2-1 pitch. Wong to third, and the tag is there.
That's a good play by Colton Wong. I understand he was thrown out, but there are more mistakes made by runners not trying to make the right play than there are by a guy who gets thrown out like here. You tip your cap to Wilson Ramos. Good play by him, a good play by Colton Wong. I know that sounds strange, but there are not, more base running mistakes are made by guys not going the extra base as opposed to getting thrown out at a base. How many times do you see guys thrown out at bases in the major leagues over the course of a season?
Right.
Not often.
And the point being, you've got to have the catcher pick up the ball in that spot, throw it to the bag right there, and the tag needs to be applied. The check swing, it did not go.
Well, 1 out is the time to do it. If there are none out, you stay at second. If there are 2 outs, you stay at second. But with 1 out, it's the right play.
So 2-out walk by Carpenter on base for the second time. And here's Jason Hayward, who singled and scored back in the 3rd.
I mean, that throw from Ramos was right on the money.
think it even furthers the point that we've talked about last year and again this year. You test outfield arms as well.
Absolutely. Going from first to third with one out, a key play in the offensive scheme of baseball. Going to third with one out, you take chances. Colton Wong took a chance. Wilson Ramos was better.
0-2 on Hayward. Teams have been going up in the zone and in on Jason Hayward. He's had fits with that particular pitch. Not that the last one was, but we'll see if they do that here. They go up, and a couple of hops to Espinosa. Ramos, his throw, as Tim said, had to be on the mark, and it was perfect. Hitting Colt Long, the tag applied by Escobar. 5-5 midway through fourth. Tim McCarver, Dan McLaughlin with you from our nation's capital. Danny Espinosa, Doug Fister, and Denard Span for Washington in the home half of the fourth. Jim Hayes has joined us as well. And Jim, some news from the minor leagues.
Yeah, Marco Gonzalez placed on the 7-day minor league DL with a sore left pectoral muscle. Marco had been starting at AAA when he felt the tightness, according to the Cardinals. I'm told the move to the DL just precautionary, and John Mozeliak told me he's not overly concerned about it being very serious. Marco had made 3 starts at Memphis, had an ERA of 4.50. But Dan, as you know, he is a valuable insurance policy for the Cardinals because he can start and he's also effective out of the bullpen.
There's a 1-1 pitch, and that is a fair ball as Adam steps on the bag. And to further your point, Jim, especially with the way that you look at the bullpen as being used right now, you know, you added Mitch Harris. We'll see what happens once Borges comes back. But you know, last night 6 relievers used. Villanueva been used twice. Randy Choate, typically a 1-batter guy that he's going to face. So that bullpen has been used an awful lot.
And a guy like Marco Gonzalez was tested in the highest leverage situations last season. The Cards know he can do that. They were stretching him out to provide some depth for that starting rotation. Again, they don't think it's very serious with Marco, but certainly a bump in the road.
All right, Jim, thanks.
Totally opposite from Washington. They don't have to go to the minor leagues if one of their starters go down, because Tanner Roark is 15-10 with a 2.85 earned run average. You talk about an embarrassment of riches. That's the case with the Nationals.
Hey, nice year. You're headed to the bullpen.
Yeah, right.
We appreciate it, but
yeah.
Sorry,
pal.
You're on the outside looking in.
With them.
Cardinals also, when you start thinking down the line, Sam Tuivailala, Tim Cooney, Marco Gonzalez as Fister strikes out, Alex Reyes eventually. Good young talent coming up. Make sure that your phone is always charged when you're on the go so you never miss a moment of the Cardinals in action. Friday, May 1st. John Jay is showing it off right there. You get a portable phone charger presented by AT&T. 25,000 fans will take home the portable phone charger. Denard Span. And a good breaking ball. It's almost 6 weeks to the day that Span had abdominal surgery, made his return on Sunday against the Philadelphia Phillies. 0-1 pitch. Out in front, and Lackey backhands, bobbles, throws, and commits an error. And Span to second base. Look to be as routine as you'll get.
Second error of the night for Lackey, even though he wasn't charged with his last one. A bigger error than this one, we'll wait and see. But an easy chance. He backhanded the ball and then dropped the ball and then threw wildly. You could give him 2 errors here.
I think they will, because there's the error on the play at first, and then the throw to first becomes the base that's given there, so you've got 2 errors on the play.
Yeah.
Now Ian Desmond 1 for 2, struck out in the first and single to center. It's sharply to short. Johnny Peralta up with it, so no damage done. We have played 4 from Nationals Park. We're tied up. It's 5-5. Ballpark Village will be a busy place tonight as Holiday shoots it into center field. Span spun and made the catch. How about that play from Denard Span?
What a great call. I got to tell you, partner, Span spun. I love it.
And Holiday's thinking, I can't hit a ball much harder than that.
You couldn't script that call any better. Turned around the wrong way, and you're watching it, as my partner said, Span spun. I love it.
If that ball gets down, it could be a triple.
Sure. Or the other kind. If it rattles around in that 402 number out in center field. That ball was hit hard.
Was it ever? Now it's Adams. And I've talked to some Cardinals outfielders over the years, especially those that would play center, potential backups, and they talk about that area, Tim, and have mentioned exactly what you have said. They say if it hits from our vantage point facing the 402 sign, if you hit the left part of it where the angle is in center.
Right. It doesn't come right back to
No.
you. It goes to your left if you're a center fielder heading towards center field.
Right. They also talked about if we can maybe pan to the left, keep going towards the Cardinals bullpen. We'll show it, I'm sure, after this pitch, but there's an area there that jets out towards the bullpens, right there, right in the middle of your screen, where a lot of the walls that you see are continuous flowing,
right,
and there is no indention, if you will, in the wall. They say that's problematic out here too. This is played, though, as a very fair ballpark.
Yeah, those are areas where you would never see Span spun, right?
Exactly. Span spun. And he made the catch. I couldn't think of anything. Well, Span is spinning.
Thank God you couldn't.
The batting practice jersey giveaway. It's the Matt Carpenter BP jersey. There he is holding it up. 25,000 fans, 16 and older. On Saturday, May 2nd, take home the adult replica Matt Carpenter BP jersey.
Oh, classic.
The 2-0. And Peralta hits it to Span. It's center. He keeps it in front. Doesn't have to spin.
The Cardinals had a 2-out, nobody on base hit in Molina in the second inning. Turned that into a 2-run inning when Wong homered.
Here's John Jay. Jay is grounded out to second, also reached on an error. So tied up midway in this game, 5-5. Great matchup tomorrow. We'll have it for you here on Fox Sports Midwest. Michael Wacha, Max Scherzer. It's a good breaking ball from Pfister.
That's the best pitch that Pfister has thrown all night.
Agreed.
Curveball falling off the table, and Wong couldn't hold up. Wow, that's a 12-6er.
There it was again. This time Jay is able to hold up. 1-2 the count. You mentioned earlier it's cold here tonight, right? Wasn't expecting it to be this chilly.
Like a late October evening.
As that feel. Windy night here at the ballpark as well. Little chopper up the middle. Tough play. And nicely done by Danny Espinosa to circle that baseball and race to the bag at second. Denard span. He spun. I'm going to say it that we had a little fun.
Keep saying it's awful. Love it.
So bad. In the driver's seat, look at John Lackey. And moving up the active starters list in starts, innings, wins. Jason Worth looks at a strike. I think when you see some of those numbers, you have to ask the question, how much does he have left? Nearly 2,500 innings, regular season and playoffs since 2003. It's fourth most among active pitchers.
The thing about John Lackey, he will go down as a winner. This guy's a winner. He pitched in Game 7 in 2002 when the Angels beat the San Francisco Giants. It's Game 7 as a rookie. Then he pitched Game 6 in 2013 for the first time since 1918 for the Red Sox to clinch it home. So those two pivotal events are enough. I mean, his postseason record has been just superb.
The 2-2.
I haven't talked to John about this, but to me, if you look at his career in the postseason, and the most important victory, in my opinion, was the one against Detroit in Game 3 of the American League Championship Series in 2013. That's what allowed the Red Sox to fire forward and beat the Cardinals in the World Series.
Carpenter makes the play. Last year, John was the Game 3 winner against the Dodgers. Went 7 innings, 5 hits, so he does have a little resume with St. Louis, and then postseason run of last year. After he was acquired from Boston, he made 10 regular season starts for the Cardinals. 7 of the 10 were quality starts. Where he struggled wearing the Cardinal uniform, and albeit a small sample size, has been on the road. His ERA on the road as a Cardinal is near 7. At home, though, John Lackey has pitched very, very well. 3-0. ERA is under 2 at Busch Stadium. Tim, we were talking about his contract, and I had the chance to visit with John prior to his start tonight. And he said, I wouldn't have come back unless I planned on pitching beyond this year. He said, let's be honest, I've made a boatload of money. I've had success, won championships. As he gets Harper to sky one into center. Taken there in shallow center by Peralta, who's out on the outfield grass. What's on tap again? Presented by Budweiser. Waka and Scherzer tomorrow will come your way at 2:30 St. Louis time. But he said if I wasn't planning on pitching beyond this year, I just don't pitch this year for the minimum. He said it's not disrespect to what I'm getting.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He said, but I want to keep going. I have a desire to keep pitching. And at this point, it's truly about winning for me. And he'll be a free agent after this year. 2 outs. and Ryan Zimmerman at the plate. And if he performs well, he'll get paid somewhere.
Yep.
And continue his career. I think what's kind of interesting is that the Cardinals, if they wanted to, and this is just an option, and again, we're in April, so who knows what transpires over the next 6 months.
Sure,
but
sure.
with modern day baseball, you can say, well, we'll give you the qualifying offer. Say that's $16 million for a year to come back. So then you essentially get John Lackey as a part of your rotation. To break it down, 2 years at $16 million. Look at it that way. Or if he doesn't accept and gets a better deal somewhere else, you get the compensatory pick.
Yep.
But it's all about what he does, performance. Peralta not in time. And Zimmerman, his second infield hit. Ball just went up the glove, it looked like, into the heel of the glove of Johnny Peralta.
Well, with 2 out and nobody on, you have to play him deep. The ball did hit the heel of the glove, rolls in the pocket, and by the time that Johnny found the handle, Zimmerman had a rare second infield hit. He's not a fast runner. So 2 consecutive infield hits. Doesn't do that too often.
In steps Chanel Escobar, one of the biggest hits tonight. 2 outs, bases loaded, and a double. And a breaking ball that's popped up. Wong giving chase. Strike 1.
Dan, you mentioned that wind. I think that ball was playable were it not for the wind. Those flags are blowing right toward the Nationals dugout as we speak. Cherry trees in blossom, right?
You bet. Escobar with a fly ball down the right field line and on a play. And again, you can see the wind take
Yeah, yeah.
Escobar is from Cuba. And he's always said he plays with a lot of flash that at times has not been accepted by many in Major League Baseball. And last night on his walk-off home run,
that was one of them.
I agree. He slid in head first on a walk-off home run. You see him dancing around the batter's box. That turns some players off. The pitch up and in. He said, you have to understand, from where I'm from, that's how we play the game. And here I'm trying to realize that even as I get older, sometimes my emotions get the best of me, and I go back to how we play in Cuba, which is with some of the flair and the flash and dramatics, if you will.
I don't even think in Cuba that a player hits a game-winning home run and goes in head first in the bottom of the 10th inning with his teammates there to congratulate him. That's no way to play the game, in my view.
2-2 the count. It's sharply up the middle. Wong backhands, jump throw, and what a play!
Oh boy! Woo. What a
good
play
was that by Colton Wong? Takes a hit away from Yanel Escobar. Ooh, Derek Jeter in that jump throw too. Nice play. Favorites, Teddy Savage helping run that and helping out many kids in the community. Cardinals Cares distributed over $21 million to kids in the area. Michael Hall and his staff do a great job.
My first experience with Ted Savage was in 1961.
See, I was hoping this would get you going.
He was the MVP of the International League.
Is that right?
Yes, and Rookie of the Year.
Molina to third. Escobar. One away.
Fast forward to 1984, 83 or 84. Robert Duvall is in the booth at Shea Stadium on his way to filming the Natural with Robert Redford, filmed at War Memorial Stadium in Buffalo. Yes, and I interviewed him.
Did you ask about The Godfather?
No, I did not. I should have. Well, I did not. I don't think Bob was in a real good mood that night.
No,
anyway.
was it?
No, I'm not name dropping or anything, but I guess I did. But Ted Savage.
Well, that was a good one to drop.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. Ted Savage is a good name to drop.
That Duvall guy wasn't bad either.
But that's the connection that Ted had with War Memorial Stadium. He was a great minor league player. Became a very more than serviceable major league player. But they filmed The Natural at War Memorial Stadium in Buffalo, New York.
Outstanding. Wong, a little bouncer right side. Zimmerman to Pfister, 2 away. We'll give Doug Pfister some credit here. After the first 3 innings, he didn't know how long he'd last in this game. Now he's pitching into the 6th. They had given up 5 runs in the first 3 innings of play.
Yeah, as a pitcher, you got to understand that things can change. They can change for you and go against the guy against whom you are pitching, and it did in that 4th inning for John Lackey.
See, when you name drop, I like it because, you know, I live vicariously through you. Tomorrow, you're going to have a little dinner with George Will, no big deal.
Stop it. Well, not now that no. I didn't think you'd say that. That's all right.
It's a good one.
It's okay.
It's all right.
It's a good one. He's a huge baseball fan. On the board of the Baltimore Orioles, Pulitzer Prize winner in 1977.
Liner and caught by Desmond. He almost overran it.
He did. That ball hooked on him.
Sure did. 5-5 midway through 6. In this series, this is lowest catcher's ERA this season going into play tonight. Alex Avila of the Detroit Tigers, catcher's ERA. Then you see Molina and Ramos. You being a former catcher, do you buy into a lot of that, the catcher's ERA?
Some of it. I mean, you got to have a very good pitching staff to have numbers like that.
I was going to say, you know, Gibson, Carlton, some of the others, that helps your catcher's ERA.
It certainly does.
Grounder up the middle again. Wong, how about this play? Oh my goodness!
Back to back.
Unbelievable plays tonight by Colton Wong.
He ended the 5th inning with a similar play, but this one was better.
Wow.
Of course, Ramos is not a fast runner, and that obviously helped Colton, but give him credit. What a play. He ended up in shallow center.
I was going to say, Tim, you can't range as far to your right as he just did and make that play any further. I mean, that's just an incredible play. The breaking ball to Danny Espinosa, drops in for a strike.
Well, I mean, think about it. Wong spinning after Span had spun.
Oh no, you're going back to it.
Of course.
Have to. Both bullpens are active. I believe it's Kevin Segras for St. Louis and a lefty getting loose as well. It's Matt Grace, who was just called up. Robert Duvall in the Natural. Max Mercy. Robert Redford says to him, "Have you ever played the game, Max?" He says, "Can't say I have, but make it more fun for the people to read and watch." Wong again to his left. Oh man,
what's going on here?
Have a night, Colton Wong.
It's like Cirque du Soleil around second base. To his right, now to his left. Adams on the line. He's everywhere.
Tim, do you remember earlier this ball game, I said, with a routine ground ball, I said Colton Wong He's playing now with a little edge and some confidence.
You did.
And I'm telling you, he is doing it here. I think last night was a big part of it. He sat out one of the games over the weekend. And then last night, tremendous at the plate. Tonight he's got a 2-run homer. He's made the defensive plays. Here's the pinch hitter, Tyler Moore. He's playing with confidence. So Doug Fister's night is through.
You had a great comment between innings about an inning ago about 22-year-olds and how we expect them to perform at such a level at such a young age. And your point was most 22-year-olds don't know what they're going to do with their lives at that age. And that was very well said.
It's very true.
Absolutely.
1 ball, 1 strike on Tyler Moore. So on the bench for Washington, they have Moore, Dan Uggla, Reed Johnson, we saw last night. Clint Robinson has been their top pitch hitter this year, just 1 for 2. And then their catcher is the backup switch hitting catcher, Jose Lobaton. The 2-1 pitch. In the air, left field, over the head of Holiday, and 1 hops off the wall. Standing up into second base, Tyler Moore, 2-out double.
This ball hit very hard, not a lot of hang time. So Matt Holliday had to play it off the wall. That's that carom that Dan was talking about a couple of innings ago. How tricky it can be. Rather routine there, however. Moore representing the go-ahead run at second base.
Denard Span, the hitter. It looks like Mike Matheny may go to his bullpen here. He will. He'll go at the lefty. We'll tell you about the Chevy call to the bullpen as the night for John Lackey is through. Kevin Segrist into the ball game, 5-5. The go-ahead run at second. Lackey is through, 5 2/3. Hyundai pitch arsenal for Kevin Segrist. This is from last year. A steady amount of fastballs that you'll see.
And he's different this year.
I think we've seen him really improve. Now he's,
as far as pitching is concerned,
yeah,
as opposed to throwing like he did 2 years ago.
2 years ago he was just unbelievable.
Lights out.
0.45 ERA. One-0 pitch on its way. Span, ground ball to second. There's Colton Wong. So good job by Segrist. He gets Denard Span. It stays 5-5. Let's head to the 7th. Yellowwood is getting their money's worth out of Colton Wong tonight.
Again.
Doug Fister, his night is through. This is the major league debut for Matt Grace. 26-year-old. You say he's got a very heavy fastball, which we talked about last night. Slider. Minor leagues high ground ball rate. 14-5 and a 2.32 ERA since converting to reliever back in 2013.
I'll tell you, you've got to have to know a lot about the makeup of a young man if you're Matt Williams to have the confidence to bring him in to a 5-5 game in the 7th inning.
Major league debut, one of the best teams. You're dealing with Carpenter, Hayward, and Holiday, the top of the lineup. There's that slider, 1-2. Matt Williams saying that last year was really the breakout year for Grace. He was solid in spring. Last year, 5-1 in 50 appearances. He was at AA Harrisburg, then was promoted to AAA Syracuse at Palos Verdes, California. held opponents to a .211 average. Looks like he may have something in his eye. He does. The ground ball rate, I mentioned that earlier, was 69% last year for this left-handed. The major league average, by the way, is 45%, so he's 24% higher. But this is the major leagues.
It's the show.
You got it. 8th round selection of the Nationals in 2010. And a ground ball up the middle, taken there by Ian Desmond. First out. Now Matt Grace can just breathe a little bit. First out in the books. Thought Jim had a wonderful interview with Mitch Harris and his parents, and you think about the road that these guys take, the road that you took to get to the big leagues, the hard work, the emotions, the sweat, the tears. I'm always excited to see a young player get their call up and make a debut.
The pain.
The pain. When you think about it, these kids, as little guys, have been working for this moment since they've been 4, 5, 6 years old. Jason Hayward told me a funny story. I said, how come you went to baseball? And he said, well, my parents basically, steered me in that direction. Didn't want me to.
Father played basketball for Dartmouth.
Father
right?
did, yeah, and his mother went to Dartmouth too.
Yeah, right.
And that's where they met. His uncle played for UCLA and John Wooden, some championship teams in the mid-'60s. And he said, my most embarrassing moment playing baseball as a little guy was that I put the ball in play and I ran to third. He said all the other guys hit from the other side of the plate, ran to first, so I'm on this side of the plate. I thought I'm supposed to run to third.
Makes sense.
His dad ran out of the field, picked him up, took him over to first base. The innocence of the game, and now playing at this level.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So he's got the first two. And now it's Holiday, and that may be it for Matt Grace in a night that he'll never forget. Lead men there to face Matt Holiday.
That was Steve McCaddy, the pitching coach, who went out to the mound. Talk about Holiday, and there's no pitching coach in the big leagues. You hear people say, well, probably giving them the scouting report. There is no way he's talking to him about his mind. Saying you're doing well, building up his confidence. Forget all that stuff. High, tight, low, and away. Any pitcher knows that. The moment he signs, that's the place to get hitters out. Tell you the truth, I'm not sure what that visit was all about. I tried to explain it, but the more I explained it, the less I sounded like I knew. I was getting in trouble.
If you're not making a change, what are you going out there to say?
Yeah, exactly.
The 2-1. Gateway Honda home run inning. Cardinals player hits a home run this inning. Gateway Honda dealers will donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Maybe saying to him too is that, look, this is obvious as well, but be very careful with Holiday because you have Matt Adams on deck and set up the lefty-lefty.
Now you have torched my ire. The worst thing that a catcher wants to hear is be careful. Believe me,
What's the pitcher going to say?
Yeah, what does be careful mean? Now let's analyze this. Be careful.
This ought to be good.
That means that if he gets a hit, it's your fault because I've already warned you.
Right.
If you get him out, then I helped you.
Right.
That's what be careful means.
Well, I'm sure that Matt Grace will be careful here with Matt Adams.
It's maddening to hear those words. It really is.
Strike to Adams.
It's a lose-lose situation. Be careful.
Well, if he's got any common sense, which I'm sure he does, he's in the major leagues.
That's why he's in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Step, throw, and the pick by Zimmerman. So a walk, but he gets his major league debut under his belt. Seager still in the game. It's Desmond, Worth, and Harper due up in the home half of the seventh. Kevin came in with 2 outs and a runner at second. Got a ground ball off the bat of Span to get out of the jam. It's a 5-5 game. The high fly ball lifted into center. That'll stay in the ballpark. John Jay, 1 out. Jason Worth with a double down the right field line. A sac fly RBI in the third and grounded out to third.
A couple of innings ago, we touched on the movie The Natural, and I remember Joe Becker, a wonderful guy, pitching coach for Leo DeRocher and the Cubs, and then with the Cardinals
right.
in 1966, used to say, "Don't forget to get the little lady, that leading lady, I beg your pardon." And the leading lady happened to be Ian Desmond. But in the late innings, now that's a lot better than be careful. Get the leading lady.
So if I say be careful with Jason Worth here, what are you going to do to me? You just toss me right out of the booth?
Get him out.
Could be.
Get him out makes a lot more sense than be careful. But Joe Becker, I mean that's
a name from the past.
Yeah, get the leading lady.
Yep.
Very, very important to get that first man in a tie ball game, any inning, but particularly later in the game of a tie game.
Down and in to Worth, 1-2. Nationals are starting to get healthier. Rendon, their outstanding third baseman, should join their team next week. There's a strikeout on the inside corner for Kevin Seagrist, so he has faced 3. Ground out, fly out, now the strikeout. UMB Champions Club, already Busch Stadium's hottest ticket. Now new for this season, fans can enjoy a third full-service bar, plus a new outdoor patio and expanded seating. And tickets are available at cardinals.com/all-inclusive. We thought the games would be tight. Tim, they have been. Last night, extra innings and a walk-off homer, and tonight tied up at 5-5.
Yeah, a different type of tight ball game tonight. Don't expect both starting pitchers to give up 5 runs. Apiece.
John Lackey, 5 2/3 tonight. 5 runs, 8 hits, 4 strikeouts, a walk. You look back at this start, and I'm sure what he's extremely frustrated with is himself in terms of fielding.
Absolutely.
To make a case, this should be a 5-1 lead.
5-1 ball game. Because that lack of covering first base with the bases loaded, allowing Zimmerman to get to first, that led to 3 more runs.
Nationals turned Harper loose on 3-0 last night. Count right now 3 balls, no strikes. Seth Maness is throwing in the Cardinals pen. Fox Tracks presented by Plaza Tire Service. So Maness getting loose in the Cardinals pen. Blake Trinan, right-hander, throwing for the Nationals.
I was thinking the same thing with Segrist when he threw over there. I think Harper has an idea about stealing right now. Situation, a tie ball game. Excellent lead at first base against a left-handed pitcher with a pretty good move to first. Pretty good. That makes him better.
Tim, in spring training, this is what the Cardinals, at least a point of emphasis with Segrist, really worked on, was trying to hold runners on, and in addition also trying to stay somewhat quick to the plate. So 2 outs. Harper is the runner at first. Long look, not running.
See, that's the thing. That was a slide move right there, and you don't want to be quick to the plate at the expense, or be quick to first base and have a good move at the expense of the hitter.
Zimmerman with a pair of hits. Both have been infield hits.
Another slide step. Slide step for a left-handed pitcher is the right leg. You don't pick it up as high as you would 9 inches above the ground. Like that. You slide toward home plate instead of using that right leg for power.
1-2 the count. There he goes, and he picked him off. Throw by Adams, and Harper is out at second base.
That pretty good move became very good.
We head to the 8th, and very important. Village and a Bommarito Sports Update with Pat Paris. Pat. All right, guys, looking forward to the post-game show. The Mazda game summary tied up 5-5 as we head to the top of the 8th. How about the Metropolitans at the start of play tonight? Mets 11-3, best record in baseball, along with Detroit and Kansas City. Blake Trinan is into the game. He spells his last name Treinen. Trinan. A Chevy call to the pen. First major league action was last year. He went 2-3. Made 15 appearances. Ground ball to short. One away.
The Mets with their best start in ages. That's without the services of their regular catcher, Travis d'Arnaud, who broke his right hand in the bottom of the 7th inning the other day. Jerry Blevins, the left-handed pitcher, broke his left arm in the top half of the 7th inning. And the Mets calling up Kevin Plawecki, who had a good night last night. 2 for 4, 2 runs scored and 2 singles as the Mets won their 9th in a row.
see them coming together in spring training towards the end?
They're starting pitching.
You bet.
Excellent.
That's minus Zach Wheeler, who's done for the year.
Yeah.
Quickly, 2 strikes on John Jay.
Zach Wheeler done. Matt Harvey coming back from Tommy John surgery. And he is special.
He's the real deal.
Yes, he is.
There's an 0-2 pitch to Jay, who is hitless tonight in 3 plate appearances. They have Jacob deGrom, Jonathan Neese, Harvey's back. One of their top prospects is not even in the major leagues. It's Noah Syndergaard. And yet, you think about
the ageless Bartolo Colon.
Just about to say
42 years old.
It's amazing. The 2-2. And they also lose, Tim, their closer, to a suspension.
Yeah.
So not only the injuries that you just spoke of, but also the suspension to Mejia, their closer.
All of the players in the major leagues that have had suspensions this year have been pitchers. 5 of them. Boy, that's a great take by Jay. If he gets on, you'll look back on that 2-2 pitch. See how important it was.
A 3-2 delivery to John Jay. We may be looking back on it.
Yep.
Big walk. 1-out walk here in the top of the 8th. Cardinals have received 3 walks. Check that. 4 walks tonight.
That 2-2 take on a tough pitch.
It's the kind of pitch that a left-hander gives up on.
Yeah, yeah. You end up with check swing a lot of times on balls like that. Jay held up, and now he's on first.
Molina 1 for 3 tonight.
Quick feet by Trinan.
Nationals had 6 innings from Doug Fister, major league debut, and a scoreless 7th by Matt Grace. And now Blake Trinan. The pitch at 96.
Dan, you and I talked about the hit and run with Molina late in the game last night. He didn't do it. I think now's a good time to do it.
Up the middle, base hit. Jay to second. Now on his way to third.
Excellent base running. Excellent.
You mentioned earlier, first to third and just how important it is. Well, in this case, it could be huge.
First to third with 1 out. Now Jay on at third base and can score on something other than a hit. Watch Jay. Good base running.
Nobody throwing in the bullpen right now for the Nationals. It is Colton Wong. He could cap off what has been quite a night for him. Mark Reynolds has moved to the on-deck circle. Wong, a 2-out, 2-run homer. Back in the 2nd, a single in the 4th. Grounded out. Some defensive plays that have been some of the best we've seen this year.
You know, Dan, the infield is in double play depth, and with a guy who can run, particularly a left-handed hitter, a lot of times it's better to have your infielders halfway, and they have the option of either coming home or going for the double play.
Especially with his speed, and especially, as you mentioned, a left-handed hitter.
Right. And with the count 2 balls and no strikes. I think your middle infielders have to move in 3 steps right here, but they're not.
The 2-0. Wong puts it out of play. Trinan played collegiately at South Dakota State University. Now, how in the world did they ever get a game in before June?
pheasant hunting report.
He got that right. Hit the other way, slicing, and it is fair. Cole Wong has done it tonight. 1 run is in. They'll hold up Molina at third, and Colton Wong puts the Cardinals back on top 6 to 5-1. An evening for him in Game 2 of this series.
3 hits, 3 RBIs, and 3 great plays in the field. Talk about the trifecta on both ends. Fastball from Trinan. And Wong sinks it about a foot fair down the left field line. A happy Jay scores, and the Cardinals retake the lead. What a night for Wong. Remember that 2-2 that 2-2 ball that was low? We do.
And Trinan does.
And Trinan does. And Jay does. And the Cardinals do.
Infield in. Mark Reynolds at the plate. Ideally, the way that things have been setting up for the Cardinals this year is to have Walden pitch in the 8th inning. But Jordan Walden has already made 9 appearances this year through 12 games. You wouldn't think he's going tonight.
No. But you do have, perhaps, with Rosenthal not pitching since Sunday, perhaps Mike Matheny will go for a 4 or 5 out save. If your 8th inning setup man, probably Manus, gets in trouble. Just kind of thinking ahead.
Exactly what he's thinking. No doubt. 0-2 the count on Reynolds. Big strikeout. Cardinals need a 2-out hit to add to their lead. First strikeout for Blake Trinan.
Slider off the plate, a ball to Mark Reynolds. And that was a key strikeout.
How about this? Intentional walk of Carpenter to get to Jason Hayward.
Haven't seen that yet this year. Makes sense, though. Carpenter's a much better hitter than Hayward. It's that simple. Thus far.
Nobody throwing in the bullpen for Washington. This will be the 5th walk the Cardinals have received tonight. Hayward, by the way, singled and scored back in the 3rd. Twice he has grounded out to second and was called out on strikes back in the 1st. Inning started with a ground out by Peralta. Jay the walk, single by Molina. Wong the double down the left field line. An RBI to bring in Jay. Reynolds struck out. Intentional walk to Carpenter, and now Jason Hayward with the bases loaded. Strike 1. One pitch. Nothing in 2. Oh, and 2 on Jason Hayward with the bases loaded. Ever a time for Hayward to get something going, right now would be an opportune time. It's been a struggle here early on for him.
It certainly has.
thought with the catch and the home run on Saturday, maybe that would propel him and get him going. It's early. 1-2 the count. If the Nationals wanted to do this, I'm not saying they would, especially with a left-handed bat, but Zimmerman and Ramos would have a very close play on Matt Carpenter. Last pitch was more than halfway to second base.
Yeah. Yep. Trying to beat the relay in the middle of the infield.
Strikeout of Hayward. Colton Wong. A double down the left field line. His third hit, triple away from the cycle. And that double, just fair, puts the Cardinals back on top. One happy second baseman so far of the Cardinals. Big night for him defensively and at the plate. Cardinals back on top 6-5. Seth Maness will start this inning. The first pitch is driven out to right field. Hayward backs up. Catch made, one away. Big out, Ryan Zimmerman.
We were talking about it sometimes seriously, sometimes kiddingly last night, that the Nationals and the Cardinals varied as far as their no doubles defense. But one of the reasons that Hayward was so deep, it's a no doubles defense for the Cardinal outfield. They play deeper than they normally would and don't let a ball be hit over your head, generally speaking, unless it's a home run. Those you can't protect against. That's what a no doubles defense is. As a matter of fact, the coach will give an outfielder that by waving his right arm behind his back. That means back up.
1-1 the count on Yunel Escobar. You go back and Tim, you look at so many key moments in a game. And what you hope is that the Reynolds and Hayward at bats don't come back to haunt the Cardinals.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Runners at second and third and only one out.
And you hope to score at least one run in that situation.
3-1 pitch to Escobar. On the flip side of it, you look at the job by Kevin Segrist in relief of John Lackey. He came in with 2 outs and a runner at second base, tied up 5-5, and he gives the Cardinals an inning and a third of scoreless baseball.
Great work.
The 3-2. Escobar called out on strikes. And quickly 2 outs. Every weeknight, don't miss MLB Whip Around on Fox Sports 1 with highlights, instant analysis, and live look-ins from around the league. MLB Whip Around, weeknights at 6 on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. There's Ramos, who is hitless in 3 plate appearances. Jammed, popped up. Who else? Colton Wong. He's there under it, puts it away. Seth Maness, a scoreless 8th inning, sends us to the 9th. Martin is the new pitcher in for Washington. Chevy Cole to the pen. This will be his second appearance. Worked 2 innings in his first appearance. Very good slider. And quite an interesting story. Did not begin his career in professional baseball until he was 25 after working construction at home in Riverside, California. Pitched in Mexico, and that caught a scout's eye in a tryout. And then he eventually signed with the Nationals in February of 2010. So he's playing in the Mexican League after 4 years of construction. And now here he is facing Matt Holliday.
That's unbelievable.
It
really
is.
is.
A key scoreless inning in this game put up by Seth Maness, and there's Holliday striking out. The reason you say it, it's obvious, no runs on the board, but also you don't bring in Rosenthal beyond a one-inning save. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Cardinals may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Martin made quick work of Holiday, and now it's Matt Adams. Adams with a double inside the third base line back in the third. There's an RBI, and then came around to score.
And you can understand that swing at that pitch with the count no balls and one strike, not one ball and no strikes. Same here. You force the pitcher to the fat part of the plate when you're ahead in the count.
C. Martin doesn't have an overpowering fastball. He's around 89, 90, but again, it's the slider, and he learned a new grip on his slider back in 2008. Oakland A's scout actually changed the grip. That one may not be coming back. Deep right field, and it is gone. That baby was launched off the bat of Matt Adams. Whoa.
That slider will be gripped by a fan in right field.
Down and into a lefty, huh?
My goodness. That was a slider, too. It didn't slide. Ooh. Ooh.
Said hit me.
Ooh. Ooh.
So solo shot. Adams' second home run of the year. 2 RBIs tonight. He's up to 6. Up and into Peralta. Cardinals a season high 3 home runs tonight. Fastball and a strikeout of Johnny Peralta.
I think Martin, that 1-0 swinging at that slider in the dirt influenced him to throw the 2-2 slider that didn't go in the dirt. He may have had the same result, a swing through, as it was Matt Adams with a monstrous home run to right field.
There's so many great things about the game of baseball.
It really is.
And
that's true.
One of the things that you have to love is that Matt Adams had a very tough night last night. Here we are 24 hours later.
Strike out in 2 errors.
Yeah, and you come back tonight. He's made a nice diving play, a couple of RBIs, home run, a double. That's why you just cannot get too high, too low over 162 games. There's a base hit out to left field for John Jay. Of course, we up here, Tim, would never be ones to over exaggerate anything.
Of course.
We're even keel.
Well, you know, the reason that guys get so upset is when they are playing amateur ball from the time they're, 8 years old to 18 or 19 or 20 when they sign, they dominate in their area. That's why they're signed as professionals. But then you get in professional ball, and everybody's like that.
Great point.
The pitchers, the hitters, the fielders, they were all everything, either in Puerto Rico or Venezuela or the Dominican Republic or California or Vermont or South Dakota State.
It also tells you you can have 4 years of construction or pitch at South Dakota State and get back in the game. If you can play this game, they will find you.
Oh, they'll find you. These guys out there are very talented in their business, the scouting business. Very smart people. They know what they're looking for, too.
Yes. So Rafael Martin.
Really the unsung heroes of the game.
No question
about it. And the general managers will tell you that. The managers tell you that. The coaches and the players.
And then when you get in the game, you can get to a Dave Ricketts or George Kissel to mold the talent.
Let me count the ways.
It's no fluke. The Cardinals have done what they've done over the years. It's no fluke the Dodgers do what they do over the years. They taught the game the right way.
Yeah, they are. And work. And continue to be.
Right. Three strikeouts, but a long home run thanks to Matt Adams. His second of the year. Bottom of the ninth rolls in. Cardinals led at 1.5-0. Washington tied it up 5-5. Now St. Louis 7-5 in the bottom of the ninth, and they'll turn it over to their closer, the Chevy Cole to the pen, and that's Trevor Rosenthal.
Cardinals had 3 saves in that weekend series against Cincinnati, all by Trevor Rosenthal. Back out there tonight.
And the first pitch, a strike at 96. Clint Robinson has moved to the on-deck circle. This is Danny Espinosa, 0 for 3 tonight. Rosenthal should be rested. Cardinals have made a point to be very careful with his usage here in the first couple of months. There's a very good changeup.
A lot different coming into a game when your team's up 2 runs as opposed to 1. Your whole pitching philosophy changes until a runner gets on. If a runner gets on.
They lure him away. 97 on the gun from Trevor Rosenthal.
Fastball, changeup, fastball. 96, changeup at 86, fastball at 97.
I'm curious, Tim, you've watched the Cardinals now closely the last 2 years, more so than even before.
Yes.
And Rosenthal has said at some point in his career, he wants to be a starter. Now, in this particular role, he's needed as a closer. He features a good curveball. We know about the fastball, good changeup. Do you see his stuff translating as a power pitcher to be a starter at some point?
Yet, no. I don't think his breaking ball is good enough to be a starter. It's tough, even though Michael Walker would probably disagree with that, and he goes tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern time. But fastball changeup's tough for a starting pitcher if you don't have a breaking ball. On the other hand, Max Scherzer, who's going against Michael tomorrow, created that slider and a little bend from fastball changeup and made himself a Cy Young Award winner. So it can happen.
Max was telling me yesterday that's exactly the difference in his
absolutely.
career.
Absolutely.
It was during a bullpen session, and they took velocity off the slider and said, keep taking it off, try it again, take it off again. And all of a sudden the pitching coach looked at him and said, hey, by the way, you've developed a really good curveball, now you have a slider, you throw 95 and a good changeup. Always had the good changeup.
I think that was Jeff Jones with Detroit.
Exactly.
Detroit pitching coach.
So we'll see him on display tomorrow. We saw him in spring training. Granted, it's spring training. I get it.
Sure.
But still, you do notice when guys stand out, and he was electric in spring training.
Pitching with such confidence since that Cy Young Award in year 2. But it's so vital for Trevor to be in the role that he is, as opposed to talking about him moving into the starting rotation.
Sure. 3-2 pitch. Little flare down the left field line and foul.
If the Cardinals were not a contender every year, then you'd more or less be inclined to move Trevor from a closer to a starter.
There's that change up on 3-2.
Yeah.
Player of the game, no doubt about this. Presented by Budweiser, Colton Wong, 3 for 4, 2-run homer, a double, a single, 3 RBIs, and some defensive gems tonight from the Cardinals second baseman. Denard Span. Pitch at 98. I think ideally, Tim, and you've seen across baseball even now, you talk to a lot of GMs and managers, they'd rather break in, I'm not saying as a closer, but they'd rather bring in young pitchers to the game as a reliever than eventually have them move into a rotation. Not to say that you want them to be a closer and do that, but ideally to get their feet wet. Adam Wainwright comes to mind. It's a good way to get him involved in the game at this level, then into the rotation.
Yeah. It's kind of always been the case. I mean, there are a few guys, unless it's a remarkable talent. But look at it, a Hall of Famer like Pedro Martinez was in the bullpen for 3 years with the Dodgers, and they didn't think he could cut it.
The 2-1 Span.
The rest is, as they say, history. By the way, I checked with Carlos Martinez about his changeup. He worked with Pedro again this winter on that changeup.
Understand the Blues are up 2-0. Cardinals a 2-run lead. We started the telecast saying that yesterday, a good day for Washington sports, could be a big night for St. Louis sports.
There's something different about Trevor Rosenthal's approach this year, too. Seems to be much more confident. First pitch strike. Vital.
The 2-2 in the dirt. You being astute and watching this game a long time, you're right on it, because last year, if you looked at it, it was about 50% of the time that he would start out first pitch with the ball. So point of emphasis going into spring training was first pitch efficiency. 3-2. The fly ball lifted to left, and this should do it. 7-5 the final tonight. Big night for Colton Wong. The rubber game of this series will be tomorrow with Walker and Scherzer.
Cardinals showed a lot of guts tonight. That is tough when they have a 5-0 lead in the 4th inning, with the Nationals coming back scoring 5 to tie. Big hit, that double by Escobar, who won last night's game. But they came roaring back and scored 2 runs to win it.
So a nice win for Mike Matheny's club. Cardinals now 9-4 this year. How about that defense tonight from Colton Wong? Postgame is next.